Mhm. Right. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. No, well, you know, I'm not, you know that, right? Okay. No, we're independent. So if you have a concern about what an officer did or did not do, then we can investigate that. We don't deal with police operations or anything like that. No. Right. If an Atlanta police officer came out and didn't follow policy related to an interaction with you, then that would be something that we could investigate. But as we just talked about before, it's got to be something that's identifiable. Right. You have a date for that? Mhm. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. We currently lack a quorum. We have some council members in the chamber for an event. We will start momentarily once they arrive.
Mr. Johnson, I believe that the body would like to begin with public comment. Is that permitted? Can we do public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Is everyone okay with that? Yep. Good afternoon, and welcome to the May 28th meeting of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee. I am Andrea Boone, chair of this committee. To my right is the Honorable Amir Faroki, and to my left is the Honorable Mary Norwood. At this time, we will have public comment. Our speaker for today is Ms. Henri Jordan. Please come forward.
Give honor to the Spirit of God, everyone that's here. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Isaiah 45th chapter 7th verse. The phrase, I create evil, refers to physical evil or calamity rather than moral evil. We should ask God to create his righteousness in us, James Griff and others. I'm asking Jesus for the power to conquer the playing spirit in me. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. Acts 12, chapter 23rd verse. Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, the voice of a God. I asked Jesus, let me not seek to take his glory, for he have done this work in me. Christ says, don't take his glory. Hear all ye people, hearken, O earth, and all that therein is. And let the Lord be witness against you. The Lord from his holy temple. Micah 1st chapter 2nd verse. A vision of the Lord on his throne is all the righteous need for security in the face of the threat of the wicked. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15 chapter 58 verse. We are laborers together with God. God's fellow workers is the key. Jesus let them know you will fight for me. You told Jesus you don't desire for his gift to operate because you denied what God did in me for his glory, and also denied me of the income it created to help you. Christ wants our protection from the hand of the enemy. We can be an enemy to ourselves. I'm guilty of that. But an enemy to what Christ, protection for us. And then he lets you know before it happened. He's not an unjust God. He's a righteous God. He'll give you a chance. And I thank God for giving me a chance. And he tells you about when you seek to oppress, you shall become oppressed. When you seek to do evil, the word of God said, I will bless those that bless thee, and I will curse those that curses thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. If you seek to curse, you shall be cursed. But if you seek to bless, you will be blessed. I want to try to bless Christ, correct everything in me that's not like Jesus, because we want to be like Jesus. Ain't no power greater than his power. Ain't no word greater than his word. Thank you.
Do we have any more public speakers at this time? Next, we will have a brief report from Atlanta Police Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Deputy Chief Jessica Bruce over the Professional Development Division. I'll be presenting today for the department. So we just finished out with week 21. We are even at 0% citywide in crime. We were able to shave off about 2% since week 11. That's about 10 weeks ago. Crimes against person are down about 11% compared to last year at this time. Property crime is down 2% compared to this time last year. Notable crimes that are down for the year compared to last year at this time, our aggravated assaults are down by 12%. Our robbery is down by 21%. Our theft from auto is down by 2%. And our motor vehicle theft is down by 10%. And we all recall the Kia theft, Hyundai. We're seeing a lot fewer of those vehicles being stolen at this time. We are still teaming up with the manufacturers to continue with the updating on the upgrades in the car and along with the steering lock mechanisms to the residents of the city. Our homicides are steady at 47%, year holding at 0 at this time last year, and the main causes remain escalating disputes and domestic in nature. One issue that we are challenging issue is our burglaries remain. They're about up 16% compared to this time last year. Burglaries are still occurring mostly in your vacant properties, your properties that are being remodeled or reconstruction. We are seeing a small increase in our business burglaries in our storage facilities. We continue to educate the workers in these areas that we see the most vacant properties in and remodeling being done. And we're reaching out to our storage facility managers to make sure they're taking the proper steps to make sure that their customers' property is safeguarded. We also make sure that our officers are conducting directed patrols in these areas. One great example of a directed patrol that our officer was making was Zone 6 had a burglary over off of Somerset. The male was described once the officer reviewed the video of wearing a yellow shirt with an ankle monitor. So the officer got the report, was going to go write his, got the information, was going to go write his report. He conducted a directed patrol just down the street. And as he's sitting there writing out his report, the male walked by him wearing his yellow shirt and ankle monitor. So the officer was able to make an arrest while on his directed patrol. Leon Bell, 10 cycles, including ag assault, theft, and drugs. Another good example on our burglary arrest is in Zone 1. A suspect entered the home where the resident was still inside the home in the back bedroom. He overheard some commotion out in front of his home. He looked out. A male was running away with his TV. He followed the male and called 911. Officers were able to effect that arrest down the street. Again, this suspect was Warren Shepard, convicted felon of 40 cycles of theft, battery, and drugs. Again, he was a convicted felon with 40 cycles. So hopefully these two great arrests will help out in Zone 1 and Zone 6 to get their burglaries declined. The department has taken approximately 445 guns off the street at this time, continuing with our gun, gangs, and drugs initiative. We've conducted 3 notable details this past month that are resulted in 32 arrests. 8 of those, the 32 were documented gang members, and 9 firearms were seized. And to end on a good note, our care unit, which is comprised of 6 people, are in field training this week, and we should see them in their cars, hopefully in the next 3 weeks in Zone 2 and Zone 5. And that is it, unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or concerns from the body? The Honorable Amir Faroki.
Yeah, one request, one question. The request is it possible, maybe not on a monthly basis, but quarterly or at the full report, for these categories to provide more than year-to-date, kind of going further back, like 2-year or 3-year, just trends? I'd be just curious to see how some of these categories are undulating year over year.
We can get with the unit and look into that.
And then the last one is a question, and I'm not going to hold you to it. I can probably Google it and or I can probably guess. I'm curious, in your experience of these categories, which tend to be the most underreported, meaning folks don't report the crime? Is it rape? Is it shoplifting?
Mostly our sexual assaults are in that category, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is very, very helpful.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am,
I think
anytime.
This is the first time we got this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Our next, we can start with our agenda now. Can we have a motion we do have a quorum, and we have been joined by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland. Can we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by the Honorable Mary Norwood, seconded by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Can we have a motion to adopt the minutes? Moved by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland, seconded by the Honorable Mary Norwood. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
We will now have a report by the Policing Alternatives Diversion.
Good afternoon.
One second. We have been joined by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Denise White, and I'm the Deputy Director at PAD, affectionately also known as Policing Alternatives and Diversion Initiative. And as a gentle reminder, we're an Atlanta-based nonprofit organization that improves community safety and wellness by addressing the needs of individuals experiencing quality of life issues related to unmet mental health needs, substance use, and extreme poverty. And we're able to accomplish those goals by really a threefold strategy. We work with law enforcement to have individuals divert to our program. We also accept 311 community referrals, and we also work with prosecutors and solicitors during post-arrest diversion. So for the purpose of my presentation, I'm going to go through our goals or our updates from January through March, which will be our third quarter goals. So we completed 112 diversions, and our top diverted charges were criminal trespass, panhandling, shoplifting, disorderly conduct, and public indecency. And 61% of those diversions actually occurred post-arrest through our solicitor partners. So there were some individuals who got arrested due to those quality of life issues, but because it could be for any reason, because we were closed during that time, during that encounter. It could be maybe the officer wasn't thinking about diverting at the time, but we were able to work with our prosecutors to get 68 people actually diverted to PAD post-booking, and that just means that, you know, they got arrested, they appear during first appearance court, and those charges are dropped because it's a release to PAD. And also, you know, people want to know if PAD works. So in the 3-month period, only 12 people out of 619 active PAD participants were rearrested by APD. That's 2%. Moving towards ATL 311 referrals to PAD, we received 512 calls, and I'm happy to report 96 of those calls were actually deflected from 911. So we were able to free up resources to respond to those calls because 96 of those calls were deflected from 911, and then those calls were routed to 311, which had us to respond. And if you look, our average response time, I'm also happy to report, was 18 minutes during this 3-month period. And really the reasons why people call PAD for this quarter, majority of the calls related to basic needs. So individuals who were, you know, perhaps asking for money, they just needed some help. And then the next, I guess, highest concern was mental health related. And then after that, it was disturbance. And I want to go back to the 911 call deflection. 81 of the 96 calls that were deflected because of panhandling or criminal trespass calls. And then 15 were public indecency calls. All right, so now let's talk about our direct services. So during this period, we had 619 total enrolled participants or active participants, and we had 101 newly enrolled participants. And really the services that were provided most frequently were outreach related, and that just means case management was provided where that person was. So wherever they are, we go out to them to provide services. So it could be a huge barrier trying to go to our Lakewood location, so we want to make sure that we provide the services out. So it doesn't matter if they're housed, if they are behind a building, we are literally going to go out to that individual to provide services to them. And then you can see food. We have a great partnership with the Atlanta Community Food Bank. So we're able to provide 375 participants with food. And then after that is transportation. And then after that is legal support. And I just want to mention, as far as legal support, a lot of our participants have open cases. And so we have our partnership again with our prosecutors and also public defenders to make sure that those individuals can get those cases resolved. And I just want to note, you'll see on here housing assistance. So for the purpose of this page, housing assistance really means that we're helping an individual, maybe help them pay their closing costs or any kind of cost that's related to getting housing. And if you see on the next slide, we're talking about actual housing support. So these are the individuals that were actually placed in shelter. You'll see 32 individuals were placed in shelter. 28 were provided emergency housing. So that could be maybe a 7-day respite somewhere. 9 individuals were placed in recovery housing. And 7 individuals were placed in permanent supportive housing. And then 1 individual was placed in bridge housing. And I just want to note that 1 individual was able to get a job, and she was able to actually pay for her housing expenses. So I just wanted to flag that housing support was different from housing assistance. Now I would like to highlight Miss Mary. So Miss Mary, she came to PAD because she was experiencing homelessness, and she was living in a vacant house. So she actually got connected with our SWEET team. And our SWEET team, they work with individuals that need a higher level of support. And they were able to work with Miss Mary, and we were able to help her get affordable housing. And she's been in there for a year now. So moving on to community engagement, we were able to actually engage with 808 businesses, and we provided 12 stakeholder trainings. So if you think about maybe law enforcement trainings, or if we went to a university to provide, just a training there to the students, and we also attended 21 community events. So if you all have any community events that you would like us to attend, please, 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 any NPU meetings, any kind of events, we would love to attend those meetings. And recently, we had a site visit from Washtenaw County, and that's in Michigan, and some city council members actually came to PAD, and they learned about PAD because they're actually implementing a diversion program. And they also met with some City of Atlanta officials as well to better understand the components of our program. Now, I would like to end with our community response team. So Anthony Benton is on the left, Ashdale Silva is on the right, and they were actually driving from a community referral, and they noticed that there was a large crowd around, and there was actually someone who was on the ground, unresponsive. So they actually approached the situation, and Ash decided to provide CPR and also Narcan to the individual. The individual was actually unconscious, but because of Ash's efforts, that person regained consciousness by the time Grady arrived. And I just wanted to kind of leave on that note, because these are kind of stories that aren't really documented, and I thought it was just important to share. So thank you for allowing me to speak today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions or concerns from any of the members? I do have a concern at the Kentucky Fried Chicken on Bakers Ferry Road, right off of the ML King corridor. We have reported 6 to 8 individuals daily at the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and also the Chevron gas station at Peyton Road and ML King Jr. Drive. That's the Chevron right off of the ML King Jr. Drive exit. They seem to migrate to those areas, and I believe I have spoken with them, and they do want to they would like help.
Okay. Is there a particular time that you think might be best for us to go out?
After 1. It
After
seems like they
1.
sleep late and get up around
Okay, well, I would definitely
12:15.
12:15.
Yeah. They get up around 12:15, 12:30. They
Okay.
start moving around.
I will definitely get a team out there and I will
Yes, they
follow up.
definitely want help. I've spoken with them almost at least twice a week. So
Okay.
if we could get them some help, that would be wonderful.
All right, and I'll definitely follow up with you.
The Honorable Amir Faroki.
Thank you for the presentation and for everything PAD's doing. I use it. I know my constituents use it. I think many of us have probably gone on ride-alongs. It's incredibly effective, and the work of the community response team is sometimes, it's not just life-saving. It's pretty magical what can happen when you just stick a helpful hand out for folks. Right?
Thank you.
2 questions. One is, how many community response team members are there?
Currently, we have 8.
And stable, a lot of attrition? Is it high turnover, or do you have this?
No, turnover is pretty low, actually, at PAD.
And those 8 are operating how many days a week?
So 5 days a week, and our hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. And is it Monday through Friday, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Have you thought about, obviously 7 days a week would be great if we had the funding, and 24 hours a day would be great if we had the funding. Is there ever any thought to covering the weekend and skipping days during the midweek?
Well, we've actually tried on Saturdays. It was a while ago, probably last year. We did a pilot just to accept diversions on Saturdays because, 311 is closed on the weekend. So we typically get more calls during the week.
It's helpful. And then sometimes I instruct my constituents to use 311 and PAD for homeless encampments. Is that appropriate?
So homeless encampments are pretty much outside of our scope individually, like as just a standalone organization, but we can definitely help out, another organization. But I believe your constituents can call 311, but not for PAD services, but they can call 311 for encampments.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Lewis.
And similar to Councilmember Bone, I want to say first, thank you for your report. I've used PAD so much in my district myself. I've been able to be on first name basis with some of your support system. There's one space in my district that I still need help at. That's Cleveland Avenue and Macon Drive, the encampment. But there are some folks that actually want help. But I can get help from Cleveland Avenue and Macon all the way up to Highway 7585. We've had an influx of houselessness in the area, and I know folks actually want help.
Okay, we'll definitely get a team out there.
And I know we've been working on the same exact area for 2 years. The same folks are there, but I know for sure that they want help.
Okay, that's helpful.
Councilmember Amir actually mentioned moving Saturdays and Sundays. The issue would be that 311 is actually not open on Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Right. And, we accept 311 calls, so that's been a barrier for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you
We
for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thank you. Next, we have the Atlanta Citizen Review Board.
Good afternoon, Lee Reed, Executive Director of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board. I'm here to do our quarterly report, which is going to cover the months of October through March. Okay, there we go. And, okay. In February, we elected, the board elected new leadership, as you see here, Jermaine Austin, Kelvin Williams. Jermaine Austin as chair, Kelvin Williams as vice chair, and Leah Pulliam as the secretary. Before I get into the data, I do want to mention briefly about the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, our authority, and just some points and reminders for the public should they choose to file a complaint with the ACRB. Complaints must involve an Atlanta police officer or corrections officer. It must be filed within 365 days of the incident. It must be signed unless it's an anonymous complaint. And you can file by phone, website, email, in person, or on our complaint portal. We're authorized to independently investigate Atlanta police and complaints against Atlanta police and corrections officers, and we also provide mediation services as well for citizens who may want to meet with the officer to discuss the complaint and see if they can achieve a resolution. Uh-oh, went the wrong way. Okay, so as we turn to the data related to October through March, you'll see we received 88 complaints. 46 of those complaints were assigned to investigations. 29 complaints were dismissed. Most of the complaints were received in zones 3 and 5. That was 52%, and 54% came from 2, 4, council districts 2, 4, and 12. Investigations closed 17. We had 69 complaints open at the end of the quarter, and our investigative timeline was 256 days. The top allegations received during the period were appropriate action required, conduct, violation of department SOPs, false imprisonment. And we received 2 notifications of officer-involved shootings. During the period, the board met 4 times, had 1 complaint panel review meeting. During those meetings that I just mentioned, the board adjudicated 13 complaints covering 47 allegations. The board sustained 49% of those allegations. And the APD's response on ACRB sustained allegations during the period with 55%, which is still below the 75% that we would like to see. There were 8 complaints pending and 6 allegations were not addressed. During the second and third quarter, ACRB participated in 61 events, made 99 cold calls, as you'll see on this slide and the next slide. Those are some of the places that we attended. And our mobile outreach unit logged 2,481 miles during the October through March. The ACRB, like many departments, have participated in the Year of the Youth events. So you have a list of our focused events there that have involved the Year of the Youth. We just wanted to highlight those. And now I want to speak on board seat vacancies. We have several seats that are vacant, have been vacant for a little while. Atlanta City Council has a vacant seat well, actually, the term has expired, so we're looking to hopefully get that seat filled soon. The mayor's office has a vacancy. MPU's G through L has a vacancy, and we also have the 18 to 30-year-old vacancy that we're seeking to fill. So if anyone knows someone who is willing to participate in the ACRB and the work that we do, please have them contact one of the appointing entities so that we can fill these vacant seats. Now, last slide is talking about our police interactions training. We believe that the better the citizens understand their rights and understand what proper police interactions look like, the better it is for everyone. And along with understanding those rights, understanding what to do if they have a concern without trying to handle it on the street. And with that, I will conclude my report. If you have any questions, please ask so I can give you the answers you need. I just want to give out a phone number real quick for those who may be want to file a complaint, 404-865-8622. Thank you all.
I have a question. If a former police officer or sheriff's deputy or whatever, would that be considered a conflict of interest, or could they be nominated to be on your board?
Thank you, Councilmember Norwood. No, they could definitely be on the board. We have one seat on the board that is specifically designated for a person with former law enforcement experience. That's the City Council's president position. And the individual was just sworn in for that position recently. But the other positions are also open for someone if they have
Law enforcement background.
Yes.
Right. That's helpful for us in looking at who we may be able to help recommend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Councilman Lewis.
I just want to say thank you for your service to the city. I know that you haven't grown much in size, but you're small but mighty. So
Yeah.
thank you for your service to the city, and continue to fight the good fight.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for reporting out to us. We
All right,
appreciate
thank you.
it. Okay, I believe I have been dubbed de facto chair until our chair returns. So we now are up to resolutions. The consent agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Is there a second?
Councilmember Norwood, we will have to accept all the, accept the favorable claims 1 through 10.
Okay, so so the next thing I need to ask for is a motion to accept the favorable claims. Okay? Do I have a motion?
Well, excuse me, approve all favorable claims, excuse me.
Okay. Second? Second. All right, to approve all favorable claims. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The favorable claims have been approved. Councilmember Norwood, we need a motion to adverse all unfavorable claims.
It's been moved by Councilman Lewis and seconded by Councilman Westmoreland. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The unfavorable claims have been adversed. This takes us to Section H, ordinance for first reading. Item number 124-01287, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to ratify services rendered in connection with agreement listed herein, E911 Network, System and Administration Services with Mission Critical Partners, LLC, beginning February 2nd, 2024, and to authorize the mayor or designee to exercise a second renewal option under the agreement on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective from February 2nd, 2024 through February 1st, 2025, an amount not to exceed $70,000.00, in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C of Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. This takes us to our regular agenda, Section I, ordinance for second reading. Item number 2, 2024-01268, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an agreement listed herein for probation management services with Judicial Correction Services, LLC, on behalf of the Municipal Court of Atlanta for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year renewal options. All funds generated under this agreement shall be deposited into the applicable general fund revenue accounts and agency fund liability accounts and for other purposes. This item will need to be filed as requested by the department.
All right, there's a motion to file by Councilman Westmoreland, seconded by Councilman Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is filed by committee. Item number 3, 2024-01270, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 2-92B12 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, which provided an exemption from the distance requirement listed in Section 2-88.1 to allow a package store license to sell malt beverages and/or wine for one retail establishment selling beer/wine located at 2018 Bolton Road Northwest and for other purposes.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Can we please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 4, 2024-01276, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into amendment number 2 for agreement listed herein, body camera police equipment and services with Exxon Enterprise Incorporated on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department to add the Atlanta Fire and Rescue Department and the Department of Corrections as an authorized user to list funding streams for authorized users and to add additional funding to the annual contract in an amount not to exceed $6,465,777.58. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, do I have a motion to approve? By Mr. Westmoreland and seconded by Councilman Lewis. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. If there is no objection from the committee, can we take 5, 7, and 8 together as a block?
Please.
These are all for settlement legislation. This takes us to Section J, resolutions. Item number 524R3654, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant of City of Atlanta in the case of Garnecia Stanley versus City of Atlanta, a municipal corporation of the state of Georgia, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia, an amount of $72,500.00, authorizing settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein, authorizing the chief financial officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 7, 24R3656, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement amount of all claims against City of Atlanta in the case of Lazia Johnson versus City of Atlanta, Georgia, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia, in the amount of $145,000.00, authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 8, 24R3657, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement amount of all claims against defendant City of Atlanta in the case of State Farm Mutual Automobile Insurance Company, Esabrogi of Wilma J. Davenport versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia, in the amount of $2,150.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein. Authorizing the chief financial officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes.
Is there a motion to approve? By Councilman Westmoreland, second by Councilman Faroki. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. This takes us back to item number 6, 24R3655, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement amount of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Lashia Levins versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County, in the amount of $750,000.00. Authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Are there members of the committee that wish to go into executive session to discuss this?
Does law advise that, or are you indifferent?
Good afternoon, Amber A. Robinson, City of Atlanta Department of Law. The city attorney is here and prepared to present concerning this claim, this settlement. And it would be the decision of the committee as to whether or not what is discussed in open session is sufficient and whether or not there are additional questions which the committee would prefer to discuss in executive session.
I make a recommendation as the de facto chair to go into executive session to hear from the city attorney. Moved and seconded by Councilman Lewis.
One moment. Yeah. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The motion to go into executive session passes.
Do we have a motion to come out of executive session? Moved by the Honorable Antonio Lewis, seconded by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The motion to exit executive session passes.
This item has been moved by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland, seconded by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Madam Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Do we have any questions, concerns, or announcements for today? I would like to announce the passing of Holman Edmond, a wonderful, dedicated, and diligent servant in Southwest Atlanta, a graduate of Tuskegee University. Our prayers are with Mrs. Dorothy Edmond, Rod Edmond, attorney, and Sandy Edmond, and the entire Edmond family. Holman Edmond will certainly be missed in the city of Atlanta. Services will be held tomorrow at Hoosier Memorial United Methodist Church at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourned. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
No problem.